Welcome back to Motorsport on 4, where round 12 of the Privilege Insurance British GT Championship is about to get underway. Now, this is a 1 hour long race, 70 laps of the tight Brands Indy circuit. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Ben. It will be busy for the fastest GT cars who will be in slow traffic. Well, in probably 3 or 4 laps. Rob Wilson, starting the Viper, leads the field round Clark Kerr. Dave Warner, keep out of trouble in the Lister Storm. He was tangled in an accident lap 1, corner 1 here in July. He starts outside front row of the grid. The TVR in third, and then, further back, David Dove's Marcus goes off into the gravel as they get the green light. Wilson leads, Warnock lets the TVR through into second place, so Michael Caine picks up 1 spot away from the grid, and so too does Rob Barth in the green and blue TVR Tuscana. He's coming around the outside now of Dave Warnock, a little bit of rubbing there, but the GTO leader is now third place overall. Look how tight it is behind as the Ultima and close relative, the Stealth, make contact. The GTO cars trying to fight their way through this tightly packed field. And out front, Rob Wilson has the easy part, perhaps holding off Caine, but he can see where he's going. He's got 2 or 3 laps of clear track ahead of him.
Now we're riding on board with Matt Turner here, passing Warnock at McLaren, now into 5th place overall, and just ahead of him is the other Par Motorsports Porsche of Marino Franchitti. But here comes Dave Warnock, using that extra power, is he? Not quite. I thought he might overtake into Paddock, but it didn't happen.
Well, Warnock can barely not catch the Porsche in a straight line, but as ever, he's being ultra cautious in the opening laps here. Turner still ahead, right behind Tim Sugden, the blue and white Porsche. All these GTO guys desperate to get at it. Oops, and the GTO Viper runs a little wide. Oops, and the GTO Viper runs a little wide there. The Curtis Hale Stephen Day car, and side by side with the Quaife down the hill. Right behind them, Paul Stevens and Jerry Taylor's NCK Marcus, the 2 Caterham drivers with a slightly bigger sports car to play with.
Up front, things are settling down a little bit now. Rob Wilson with that healthy advantage up front. Michael Caine still running in second. Everybody filing through Surtees. It is tight through there, but so far so good. There goes Caine in second. Third place, the GTO TVR. Oh, and somebody's had a spin. That's the other Viper. That's the GTO car of Stephen Day and Curtis Hales.
Well, Curtis is having an adventurous second lap, isn't he? Forced onto the grass at Druid, spins at Surtees, and he will drop all the way down the field. There's the second Tuscana. Richard Stanton ahead of Adam Simmons. We're on board with the Harlow Motorsport Porsche. Terry Reimer, the other driver in this car, up to Druids. Right ahead you can see the silver tail end of the Ultima, which has now been passed by the Stealth. There is the Ultima. And there is Lister boss Lawrence Pierce checking the times, keeping his lap charts up to date. And reliability hasn't been a problem for him this year. He'll just be worrying, like Warnock, about potential problems in traffic and then maybe an accident taking the car out of the race.
That's true, but Dave Warnock's doing a sensible job. He's still got Tim Sugden behind him, but he's not doing anything silly at this point. He just wants to keep the car in one piece. Now we're on board with Mark Pashley, coming up towards Paddock Hill Bend, trying to get past Andy Purvis in the NCK Marcus, just following through Paddock, down the dip here, accelerating hard. Oh, and smoke filling the cockpit. That's a bit odd. Something very strange going on inside that Stealth. That should not be happening. It clears a little bit as he comes up towards Druids. Back on the power again. I don't know, there might be some sort of oil leak somewhere there, and trouble indeed for Mark Pashley.
Well, those two and the Ultima battling for 4th place in GT. They're behind the Lister Storm, and they need really to stay there for the Lister to score the points it needs to seal the championship. And Warnock now picking up the pace a little, back in front of the second Par Motorsport car of Matt Turner, who was past him earlier on, and Tim Sugden also having a look at the back of Matt Turner. Maybe Turner's run into a problem then.
Well, Tim having a little look to the outside, and then we'll try and cut back to the inside, I think, on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, but he's not really close enough. In fact, Matt Turner had a lot of speed through Paddock, and Tim wasn't able then to capitalise on the move on the straight. So Tim continues to follow the orange and blue Porsche.
And that battle behind as well, you're catching a glimpse of. The Marcus has got the Stealth right back up behind it again. So obviously, whatever the small fire on board was, it didn't seem to be too much of a problem. Turner holding off Sugden on this short track. The leaders should soon be in amongst the back marker traffic. And there behind the Ultima is Charlie Cox in the Surtec Porsche, 13th overall, 8th in GT.
Now we're on board with Sean Balfe, who's 2 places further back. He's just behind Paul Stevens here, and the Surtec Porsche just ahead. Has a bit of look up into Clearways and spins it. That's Sean Balfe making a big mistake, almost trying to get past Stevens. It didn't work, and I think he's going to recover okay. Yes, he does, but he's lost a lot of places.
Well, actually, he's going to luck in here because there was a big gap behind him. He only lost 2. The second of those there to Tony Littlejohn in the other Certec Porsche. Michael Caine, oh, look, there's the Ultima going very slowly. Caine in second place, teammate Bobby Verden-Rowe awaiting the pit stops. And the TVR team looking a little anxious. Rob Wilson, the race leader, but Caine is still with him, keeping him honest. The Viper and the TVR setting a ferocious pace at the front of the field, and sure enough now, a chance perhaps for Caine in the slower traffic to make a move on the Viper.
David Dove and Gary Townsend in the Marcuses just ahead of Rob Wilson, and Rob gets past the first of them fairly easily, past Townsend, and now he'll try and get past David Dove. Meanwhile, battle going on further back here, and this is for the GTO class. Look at this, Rob Barth trying to get up the inside of Curtis Hales, and they make contact. Right behind them is the other GTO class car, and into the gravel goes Curtis Hales. Drama indeed up at Clearways, and a change for the lead in GTO. Look, Marino Franchitti's got in front.
Yeah, opportunist move by Franchitti, slipped inside and took the lead. He's third overall, Barth in fourth, and Hales was a lap down, 19th overall. Here comes his teammate Rob Wilson, still leading the race though.
Yes, in the GT car rather than the GTO car, so this leading the race outright, but with the TVR close behind Michael Caine and finding their way through traffic. There's Charlie Cox they're trying to get past now as they come through paddock, and look how much this has allowed the TVR to close up.
Well, the real danger here is for the race leader, perhaps more than Michael Caine, because these GT cars... Oh, and Caine now, just to prove me wrong, gets inside Charlie Cox. Cox doesn't quite see him or give him enough room, and they make contact. And there you go, that almost completes the thought. These slightly slower GT cars are so much harder for the fast front-running guys to pass, unless like Michael Quaife there in the Quaife, they are a gentleman, and a bit falling off the Viper there, that may be a problem. Dave Warnock comes in from third place in the GT class, don't forget, still in a championship winning position. Very early, right at the opening of the pit window, to hand over to teammate Mike Jordan. In 2 comes Matt Turner, he'll hand over to Ed Horner. The American hauled out and Horner shoved in. And in 2 comes Michael Caine's car. Now, I'm sure the team will hope that that is okay. Bobby Verden-Rowe into the car. And the Viper at a standstill as well. So all the 3 championship contenders, the front runners, are in the pits. Tim Harvey already in the seat. Rob Wilson in the doorway there trying to help him. Not the smoothest stop ever from the TVR crew, and oh, the Par Motorsport crew trying to jump out of the way as they hold up their pit board. Safety car is out though. I'm sure that's to allow the marshals to rescue the Hales Viper, and some work going on in the pits to try and sort out the TVR. Looks like there was some fairly hefty contact between them as well. Off goes Martin Short. Here's Mike Jordan behind the safety car. He's not the race leader though, so yes, he does get the wave by signal then. 1 car go by. He's looking for Bobby Verden-Rowe in the TVR because Michael Caine stopped a lap earlier than the others, and there is Caine, he's the leader. But Ben is down in the pits and he's with Rob Barth.
Rob, you got out of the car looking pretty angry. What's upset you?
I got halesed. I came up behind Curtis in the Viper at Surtees. I saw him look in his mirrors. He'd seen me. He then stayed wide at Clearways. I dived down the inside and he just fired me off. And yeah, just touched. Put us back to second. The car's fairly evil handling, so fingers crossed he'll last till the end.
Well, let's have a look at that again. As he says, the TVR inside as Curtis Hales gave him some room and then, well, I don't know, thought better of it? Not quite sure what the thinking there was at all. And Rob Barth similarly a little at sea. So, the Viper rescued then, the safety car lights are off, ready to go again. Bobby Verden-Rowe leads. Tim Harvey in the black Viper, third in the queue. In second place, Kelvin Burt in third place overall, but some way further back towards the tail end of the queue. And they'll have to negotiate the Ferrari after paddock. Oh my goodness me, a big mistake by Bobby Verden-Rowe. Drops the car out of paddock from the lead of the race, and it looks as though he's lost the engine as well. Well, that's not what he will have wanted on cold tyres, to throw the car down the hill. So Tim Harvey now the race leader, passing Neil Woodford's Ferrari, which is 4 laps down. The Marcus behind him is no threat, nor is the Lister. This doesn't change much for the Lister team. They needed to be in the top 4, and they still are. So as long as they can keep the car on the track, and Mike Jordan should be able to do that despite the number of cars on this busy Brands Hatch circuit, they'll clinch the title here. So it's avoid the X. Oh my goodness me! I don't believe it. Bill Tully spins. Broken suspension on the Marcus. Don't forget that car went into the gravel before the green flag. Maybe a legacy of that, but that was a heart-in-the-mouth moment there. And the TVR of Bobby Verdon-Roe now getting away. And he's very low at the left rear. I think he's got a flat tyre, maybe from the spin. Maybe that even caused the spin. Well, heart-in-the-mouth moment for the TVR team and for the Lister team now in the last couple of laps. And here comes Verdon-Roe. Yeah, shredded left rear. Well, cause or effect? We'll have to find out later, I'm afraid.
Well, it's all been happening out there, hasn't it? He makes his way back into the pits. There is Mike Jordan in the Lister. Still on target, just going through lapping some cars, but he can't quite get past Terry Pudwell at the moment. Meanwhile, getting out of the Marcos Bill Tully, into the pits comes the TVR.
And the TVR's lost 4 laps after that incident behind the safety car, or after the safety car pulled off. They're changing that left rear tyre, and that was the side where the car clashed with Charlie Cox's Porsche. Maybe that led to the puncture, though ultimately put BVR off the road. Now they are changing the right rear. Looks as though they may be swapping the tyres to have the used tyre on the outside, on the left-hand side, which is the more used side here at Brands Hatch. Back on board with Mike Jordan. 16 seconds down to leader Tim Harvey, whose Viper we just saw. 6 cars between them, but in actual fact they're all GTO cars. It really doesn't matter. He's still second in GT. He doesn't actually have to pass anybody, but being a racing driver, of course, he will feel the need to. Goes past the Mark Sumpter Porsche, already past Steve Hyde in the Tuscan R. Those 2 places put him up to 3rd place overall. And the TVR Speed 12 still in the pits. Bobby Verdon-Roe heads off once more.
Michael, high drama here. Do you know what happened?
No, I mean, we brought the car in. We had a little bit of contact with a Porsche up at Druids. He just sort of turned in, but that was the front of the car. I haven't heard anything on the radio. We were leading, and then Bobby's come in with 2 flat tyres.
Well, let's take a look at the incident again. The TVR inside Charlie Cox's Porsche. Contact at the front, but then at the rear. Maybe Michael didn't quite feel that, but that may have deflated the tyre, and that may have led to Bobby Verdon-Roe spinning out after the safety car. A little bit of art as the Ultima belches fire. So too does the Marcus. Steve Hyde here, going inside Terry Reimer. Spins at Druids. Oh dear. Well, he's over the curbs on the inside, but there'll be a lot of 3-point turning before he finds his way back onto the track from there. He's nosed into the bank. He was going for 4th place in GTO, and looks to be fairly stuck there. GTO race leader still Kelvin Burt from Martin Short. They're very close together, just 3 or 4 car lengths in it, but Burt holding that advantage over the TVR Tuscan R.
And we go on board with Mike Jordan heading up towards Druids, right behind Martin Short. Waved yellow flags up here. That's because of Steve Hyde's car off on the inside, so no overtaking around that part of the track. Wait for the green, and then you can get on with passing again down through Graham Hill and along to Surtees, and Kelvin Burt trying to do just that.
Just getting away with it as well. Alex Pilgrim didn't think he was coming through there, but Burt is under pressure for the GTO win from Martin Short. Don't forget, this is 2nd, 3rd and 4th overall, with Kelvin Burt 2nd place in the race at the moment. Mike Jordan should have the power to get by them both on this straight. Goes inside Martin Short. Oh, that looks like contact there. Short didn't see him coming, I don't think, but survives that one, as does Jordan. And again, a heart-fluttering moment for Mike Jordan there. He doesn't have to pass these guys, but he still wants to, just for safety's sake. Now Ben's caught up with his teammate in the pits, Dave Warnock.
About 20 seconds the gap at the moment. Do you think Mike can make that up?
I'm not sure it's the prime importance, to be honest. It's going to be a question of stroking at home. He's looking after the car.
It's all about championship.
That's what it's all about today. Thank you.
Well, let's hope Mike remembers that. There is Steve Hyde out of the black and yellow TVR Tuscan R on the inside of Druids, and he'll be disappointed with himself, I think, for that. Paul Natfield battling with Neil Cunningham. They are 8th and 9th overall, 4th and 5th in the GTO category. 2 laps down on the race and class leaders. Cunningham dives inside at Graham Hill Bend, and Terry Reimer next car back in that GTO battle. So the Lister behind Bobby Verdon-Roe. Verdon-Roe, of course, 4 laps down after that tyre went down and pitched him into a spin from the lead of the race. What luck TVR have had this year has all been bad. Bobby stays out of the way and allows Mike Jordan safely through. And Dave Warnock, well, counting down the laps and the minutes perhaps until the championship that eluded him last year may yet be his this year. Blue flags for the slower cars, and Tim Harvey will take as few chances as possible here. I think he knows the odds. He knows that Jordan will not try and take the victory if they can win the championship. So Harvey strokes it through the back marker traffic. Oh my goodness, and off goes Terry Reimer. A very uncharacteristic error there by Terry. Maybe he had a problem that pitched him off into gravel, but at least he missed the Viper. And Hugh Chamberlain and the team will be mighty relieved because the Viper is on course for its 4th win of the season. Last lap, out of Clearways, the checkered flag awaits Tim Harvey. He will win this one comfortably. Race win number 4 for the Viper, but the championship will go to the Lister Storm because they've had their scares as well. But Mike Jordan coming out of Clearways to take 2nd place in the race and the 2001 GT Championship for himself and for teammate Dave Warnock. And Warnock with the team on the pit wall to celebrate. The title that had eluded him last year is his.
Brilliant, well done, many congratulations.
I like winning, you know that, and we've worked hard to win this championship this year. It's been a fight with Harvey and Wilson all the way through the year, and it's a very nice feeling to have beaten them.
So they were 1st and 2nd in GT. The NCK Marcus is 3rd and 4th ahead of the Quaife, and the TVR finishing up 6th in class. In GTO, it was all about Burton Franchitti once more. Short and Bath giving them a good run for their money ahead of the Phalanx of Porsches.
No, it was a good close race, and won on the traffic, I think, on the overtaking. So I think we're equally matched for pace.
I think you've blown it, son. Yellow flag, tell us about this. What's he talking about here?
He passed somebody under a yellow flag, and he thinks that might reflect on me.
Right, well, we'll have to see what everyone else says.
Well, the incident surrounded the yellow flags that Steve Hyde brought out spinning at Druids. Martin Short was chasing Kelvin Burt through traffic. As they passed Terry Reimer, no flag on the right. Burt goes by, waved yellow extreme left as Martin Short passes, realises his mistake, comes back. But the stewards agreed with Kelvin Burt. His move was fair. So the champions in the GT class decided at last. Jordan and Warnock have had one hand on it for a few weeks, but now it is theirs. And in the GTO class, Kelvin Burt and Marino Franchitti have already tied that one up. Porsches in the top 3 places.
That